Happy Aloha Friday. Thanks for tuning in to This Is Now. I'm Dylan Ancheta. A short time ago, officials held a press conference ahead of the planned Red Hill defueling, which is set to start on Monday. Our Emily Cristobal listened into that press conference and has more. Emily, what can you tell us?
Yes, Dylan. So Governor Josh Green, along with other government leaders and military officials, formally announced at this press conference the start of the defueling of Red Hill, which is set to kick off on Monday. It's the beginning of a process to empty about 104 million gallons of fuel from the underground facility using gravity draining. And the historic project is not without risk, as it comes after months of planning, emergency preparedness training, and multi-agency collaboration. Here's what officials had to say.
Defueling Red Hill is the right thing to do for the people of Hawaii, our military families, the environment, and national security. We've taken exhaustive measures to reduce risk, to ensure safe operations, and we are also prepared to respond to contingencies, protect the aquifer, the environment, and the health of our personnel and the community.
As you know, we're viewing this in three parts. Today's part, draining Red Hill. Tomorrow's part, shutting Red Hill, and then in the future, making sure that we have full remediation of the aquifer. What we will be doing is we'll be seeking a lot of additional sampling wells, a lot of additional security on behalf of the state of Hawaii, in partnership with federal government, in partnership with the military, so that we can go forward to do what we have to do, which is to not only make sure the water is healthy, clean, but also we have responsibilities to our people going forward. We have to build housing. We have to make sure that people can continue to live on Oahu.
Now, officials said they expect the defueling to take about 3 months, but again, this is just the start of a years-long effort to shut down Red Hill. The military agreed to empty the facility in the wake of the November 2021 fuel spill, which tainted a water system that served more than 90,000 customers. Thousands were sickened, and a criminal probe into the incident is ongoing. We'll have more on this story in later editions of Hawaii News Now. This is Emily Cristobal for Hawaii News Now.
Emily, thank you so much for your reporting. We also want to give you some updated information now in regards to the latest on the Maui wildfire disaster recovery. A short time ago, county officials on Maui have released the updated list of those still unaccounted for. This is the FBI vetted list, and they say, Maui police say the list is now down to 7 names. You see them on your screen there. If you believe your loved one is still missing and not included on this list, you are asked to call 808-566-4300 and contact Maui Police. Again, the number and information is there on your screen. We also want to turn now again to the latest on the Maui wildfire recovery. Our affiliates at CBS have obtained, and the Associated Press have obtained, 911 recordings of the day the wildfires burned through Lahaina. A warning, some of the details in this story are graphic.
We are caught in massive traffic and we're covered in ashes and embers.
One after another.
We just were trying to figure out if there's a way that the traffic can move so we can at least get out of the area.
They pleaded for help.
Please send someone to my mom's house. I have 10 babies over there.
And for any guidance on how to escape the flames around them and around loved ones out of their reach.
I left my kids. I went down to the store. I left my kids in the house and they don't have any other way to evacuate.
These are just part of the 2 hours of 911 calls released to the Associated Press by Maui officials. Among the more than 200 calls in that period, residents reaching out to an overwhelmed system short on clear answers on where to send residents as the fire moved in.
Just get out of Lahaina.
Of the entire city?
The entire city, yes. Just get out of Lahaina.
Okay.
Okay.
I was very low on gas. Any suggestions which direction I should go?
I don't know, sir. I just know that our entire island is burning from the east to the west.
Among those August 8th calls were residents calling from their cars as Front Street burned, the roads blocked by standstill traffic, debris, and fallen trees.
Lahaina is totally busy right now. You have to be patient. If you are safe, number one is if you're safe, please stay there. If you are not safe, you got to find some way to get to the ocean.
And there are two things that are striking about these calls. First, it appears there was only one dispatcher on duty, and 2 hours into this crisis, there was still no sign of any first responders. The county, meanwhile, has yet to release an official timeline of their emergency response. Jonathan Bigliotti, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And an update now on entry into the disaster area. Restrictions are being lifted for owners and residents for zones 6C and 15A. That is along Kahoma Village Loop and Front Street. A vehicle pass is needed to access burned properties from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. today and tomorrow. And 2 more burn zones will be open Monday and Tuesday. That area includes Leoleo Street next to the Lahaina Recreation Center and the stretch from Aulike Street to Aholo Road. Visiting hours will also be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. those days. You can keep track of what areas are reopened online at mauirecovers.org. A Lahaina architecture firm is offering free design and permitting services to those wildfire survivors. Our Chelsea Davis tells us how much money that could save them.
They'll be able to do exactly what we're doing here, but on their house and all.
The team at Kaspersky Design says they want to help the families of Lahaina rebuild. So why not do what they do best? Provide house plans start to finish.
And provide the design as it develops in both plan view form and 3D model viewing.
Permitting process included at no cost for the people of Lahaina who lost their homes in the August wildfires.
Really thought about many different ideas, and then we came up with this project we're working on, the Ho'ola Lahaina project.
Ho'ola in Hawaiian means to give life, to revive, to heal. Adam was born in Hawaii, raised in Lahaina, and has been in business in West Maui for almost 25 years. So for him, this project is personal.
Everyone has someone they know that's been affected by the fire, whether it's someone who's lost a home or lost a loved one.
More than 2 months after the fires, Adam's father, Paul, is still unaccounted for.
My dad didn't make it out of the fire. He's still on the missing list. So we're waiting we kind of know he didn't make it out.
Adam says giving is most healing for him. Normally, this would cost him approximately $40,000 per project, but he's doing it all for free, and they're taking inquiries until the end of the month. They hope to start working on designs next month.
If someone wants a more kind of Hawaiiana plantation style home, we're going to have detailing and other exterior finish materials that really push the project in that direction. There may be some other people that want more of a modern farmhouse or something like that, and we'll have some detailing that's thought out that gives that to them.
He says his goal is to evoke the same charm and the original feel the beloved Lahaina town had. For more information, go to hawaiinewsnow.com. Reporting in Lahaina, Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Many Lahaina students will return to their home campuses next week. Lahaina Luna High students will return on Monday after weeks of sharing the grounds of Kulani Hako'i High in Kihei. Lahaina Intermediate is back open on Tuesday, while King Kamehameha III and Princess Nahi Ena elementary students will return on Wednesday. The DOE says extensive testing of air, drinking water, and soil quality have shown the campuses are safe for students to return after the fall break. Students and staff from King Kamehameha III will be sharing campus facilities with Nahi Ena until a temporary school site at Pulelehua opens. And Lahaina students will also head back with some new gear thanks to the Hawaii State Teachers Association. Hundreds of families picked up free backpacks filled with school supplies. We're told more than 800 backpacks were distributed. Kamehameha Schools provided the school supplies and secured a donation of 3,000 backpacks from Land's End. In September, dozens of volunteers, which included teachers and retirees, gathered at Windward Mall here on Oahu to fill the backpacks with supplies, pack them into boxes, and load them onto a Matson shipping container. And now to an update on a story out of Hawaii Island. Hawaii Island police have located 48-year-old Roberta Mokihanaperi of Pahoa. Detectives had been searching for her for questioning about a missing persons case. That it being the case of 76-year-old William Bishop. He was last seen at his Hawaiian Paradise Park home on January 22nd. Police had said Perry was not a suspect but wanted to question her as a potential witness. Perry also had a warrant out for an unrelated theft case. Here on Oahu, longtime Honolulu City Lights organizer Carol Costa has died. She was the press secretary to former Mayor Frank Fossey and was known as the mother of Honolulu City Lights. She worked on the annual celebration every year until she retired in 2004, and she's credited with starting it in 1985 when Mayor Frank Fossey wanted more festive happenings during the holidays at Honolulu Hale. After she retired in 2004, she then continued to volunteer for nearly 15 more years. She died on Tuesday. She was 80 years old. And another passing to tell you about: the first native Hawaiian to head up the Hawaiian Volcanoes Observatory has also died.
It's probably unlikely that it's going to make the highway within the crack system. At some point it's got to come out, and once it does that, it's going to spread out and move much more slowly.
That was him in 2014 when an eruption on the east flank of Pu'u'o'o was heading toward Pahoa. He was the 19th scientist in charge at the HVO, and he was also a proud Kamehameha Schools alumnus along with the University of Hawaii. His family says he died Sunday morning. He was 72 years old. We look now toward the Middle East, where the situation continues to grow more and more dire with each passing day. More than 1 million residents of northern Gaza were told to evacuate ahead of Tel Aviv's expected ground offensive. NBC's Allison Wilson is on Capitol Hill with the details.
The Israeli military dropping leaflets over Gaza City today, calling on residents to flee south ahead of Israel's planned ground assault to eliminate Hamas. As the bombing intensifies, the death toll continues to rise. Chilling images emerging from the region of cargo containers filling with bodies.
Cargo full of bodies, hundreds of bodies, babies, children.
The U.S. working on multiple fronts to keep the war from spreading. Secretary of State Blinken in Qatar today, meeting with Middle Eastern leaders.
Let's not lose sight of why this is happening. Israel is conducting operations in Gaza because Hamas carried out terrorist attacks.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in Israel pledging U.S. support. Back in Washington, President Biden on 60 Minutes with a commitment to secure the release of American hostages.
Because I think they have to know that the President of the United States of America cares deeply about what's happening. Deeply. We have to communicate to the world this is critical. This is not even human behavior. It's pure barbarism. And we're going to do everything in our power to get them home if we can find them.
As the humanitarian crisis grows in Gaza, the United Nations is calling an evacuation impossible, saying any effort to move the region's more than 1 million people could turn a tragic situation into a calamity.
The situation for the 2 million residents of Gaza is desperate. They are pawns right now. They're victims in the most terrible eruption of violence imaginable.
Violence launched by Hamas's Saturday attack on Israel that now threatens to spiral across the region. White House National Security Council Strategic Communications Coordinator Admiral John Kirby tells us that 27 Americans have been killed since the war started. Another 14 remain missing. The State Department says they're now arranging charter flights for Americans wanting to leave Israel. From Washington, Allison Wilson, NBC News.
Two brothers from Waipahu, Victor and Vincent Peringit, are recovering after being shot multiple times in Arizona. Sheriffs say the suspect, Vincent Ogawa, opened fire after a dispute at the gas station when the pair had stopped to check on one of their motorcycles Saturday night. The brothers were hit in the arms and torso, but are now in stable condition. Ogawa was arrested at the gas station after being identified on surveillance video. The families of the brothers have started a GoFundMe to cover medical costs. You can find the link on our website at hawaiinewsnow.com. Back here on Oahu, there's a glitch with the city's new parking meters. Car owners are finding themselves with a lot of extra time. As our Ben Gutierrez reports, the city has been trying to fix it for days.
This is a 1-hour parking zone, and that time is regulated by the parking meter, which limits the amount of time you can spend at the stall. But what if the brand new meter told you you could stay for 22 hours? That's one of the extended times we found on parking meters around Honolulu. This lucky motorist on Lunalilo Street had 12 hours, 41 minutes remaining. We found another one on South Beretania that had nearly a day's worth of parking time.
22 hours, 56 minutes.
Yeah.
So this expires tomorrow at 2:38.
All right. Good. You can stay here all night.
There were 4 more meters in a row on Beretania with the same problem.
This is the new system, huh?
Yeah.
Boss already.
In a statement, the city's Department of Transportation Services says about 200 meters out of the city's 4,200 experienced this issue, which was related to the recent upgrade to 4G. The new meters cost nearly $4 million and were installed just this past summer.
We wanted to do a little test. We're going to put a quarter into this meter, which has no time on it, and see how much 1 quarter will buy. Well, it does give you 10 minutes.
Which is how it's supposed to work. We drove to the Chinatown area and found several more meters with hours and hours of time, which surprised some businesses.
That's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know what you're getting charged if it's 24 hours on the meter. I don't know.
The city didn't say exactly what caused the problem, but that the vendor, IPS Group, has been working on it since Tuesday. DTS also says the extra time won't result in extra charges to the customer.
Time is running out if you want to take advantage of the extended time. The vendor has told the city that once that time runs out, the meters should return to normal operations. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
The city's latest plans for the Honolulu rail line would sacrifice more trees than originally planned in the downtown area. The Honolulu Civil Beat reports it would convert a segment of Halekauwila Street into a bus-only traffic corridor. Hart planned for years to cut 7 trees along Halekauwila to make way for rail, but recent design changes for the project now call for the removal of additional 9 trees. So many changes with our rail project indeed. Let's go ahead and welcome now our Jonathan Masaki for a look at our traffic. Aloha, Jonathan.
Well, thank you, Dylan. First of all, you just brought up that story about the rail system. So the camera that we're going to show you right now is exactly about that reason. The push into Dillingham Boulevard, you see the no left turn as you head west is in place right now. So none of the left turns can be taking place along this very, very busy corridor. And you see the traffic right there. The cones are up and about. This is all day and all night. So I know a major inconvenience has been caused in this area, but Hart has been pretty forthright in telling us that this push will be continuing on for the next few years into the city as they continue to push into the greater part of Honolulu. As you know right now, it doesn't even come past Aloha Stadium, but the next big opening will be the airport and then eventually into the Kaka'ako area and into the Ala Moana area. So just be aware of that. Just an ongoing traffic update that we want to keep you posted on just because it's going to take several years before this is completed. After the break, we're going to hear from Guy Hagi and the latest with Hawaii's weather.
Significant rainfall not expected. So we're lucky to have those passing showers coming into East Oahu this morning, also over on the windward side too. But there's not a lot. And you can see whatever rain comes in will be of the light variety right on the scale. If we're to see heavy rain, we see yellows and oranges. We just don't see that. However, looks like a more distinct front with more rain is expected sometime on Thursday. But that's so far in the end of the forecast that there's not a lot of confidence in that. But computer models are hinting that we could see more rain. But again, that's next week, Thursday. So it's a long stretch of fairly dry weather. It is going to be beautiful, though, because we expect lots of sunshine with fairly sunny skies. Easterly winds today, humidity levels not crazy high, but they'll go higher tomorrow when the winds turn variable. So for tomorrow's Ironman, it's going to be hot. It's going to be not so much windy, and the water conditions for the swim will be very, very nice. So fast swim, challenging heat on the bike ride, and sweltering heat on the run. That's normally the case, and that's going to be the case tomorrow. And then on Sunday, the weather's not going to change very much. In fact, that light wind weather pattern with morning sunshine, afternoon clouds, and a few spotty afternoon showers will continue expected all the way through Wednesday. Again, meaningful rainfall not expected, although keep your fingers crossed. We could see a spotty downpour or two late in the day for the next several days, and high temperatures remain in summertime mode in the mid to upper 80s.
In our nation's capital, the GOP has selected Jim Jordan as their nominee for the Speaker of the House, but it's still unclear if he will have the full support on the floor to actually get the gavel. So many politicians are saying they want to put the emotional politics behind them and get back to work. Karen Kefa has more.
House Republicans trying this again with the runner-up in Wednesday's party ballot, Jim Jordan taking another shot at becoming the party's nominee for Speaker, but not unchallenged, with many GOP members just eager to get back to work.
Himself.
House Republicans on Friday starting over, not without some frustration.
I don't like the way this whole thing's played out, so we'll see how that goes.
After failing to coalesce behind Steve Scalise for House Speaker, it's not clear whether Jim Jordan, who came in second to Scalise in an internal party ballot Wednesday, can get enough support either.
If he can't get 217, there's going to be a new candidate.
And on Friday, Austin Scott of Georgia announced a speaker run too, inviting another party divide. Any candidate needs to win a majority of the entire House to be elected Speaker, which is 217 votes right now. That means a Speaker nominee can only afford to lose 4 Republican votes if all are present and voting. Democrats expected to give uniform backing to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Some Republicans eager to put the messy internal politics behind them and get back to work as fighting rages between Israel and Hamas, and a U.S. government funding deadline looms in 5 weeks.
The problem has been consistently that we've allowed emotion to get in the way of logic and in the way of the necessity to actually govern. I did not come here to be emotional. I came here to govern, and the quicker we get past that, the better off we are.
Congress has been without a House Speaker since last Tuesday, when 8 Republicans joined with Democrats and voted to oust Kevin McCarthy.
And some Republicans have been considering whether they should try to expand the powers of the interim Speaker, Patrick McHenry of North Carolina, so the House can move on legislation like a resolution for Israel. Other Republicans pushing back on that idea, saying it puts them in tricky and untested legal territory. In Washington, I'm Karen Kefa.
The man accused of stealing a pair of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz is expected to change his plea to guilty. 76-year-old Terry John Martin is scheduled to appear in federal court in Duluth, Minnesota on Friday. He was indicted on 1 count of theft of a major artwork in May and pleaded not guilty. The shoes were stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids in 2005 and were later recovered by the FBI in 2018. It's not known what led the government to Martin, as much of the evidence has been prohibited from being publicly disclosed due to a protective order. The shoes are valued to be worth around $3.5 million. They remain in the custody of the FBI. Only 4 pairs of shoes worn by Garland in the Hollywood classic film are still known to exist. Well, Judy Garland and those slippers.
Well, who would think? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan, you got some good news for us? What you got?
Well, many people right now are in the middle of Sober October, and that's staying away from alcohol. And it might be easier these days with the rise of non-alcoholic beers. The Wall Street Journal reports the sales of non-alcoholic beers jumped 32% last year. Nielsen IQ also reported an average of 31% sales growth over the last 4 years. Data from the Euromonitor says the trend is even more pronounced in Western Europe. Reasons for the rise in popularity of non-alcoholic beers include thanks to technology and better taste.
What do you think, Jonathan? You a fan?
No, I think better taste is kind of relative and subjective. So why don't we just leave it at that, right?
Definitely. We're going to end today with a show of solidarity. This is the largest digital Israeli flag on display in Miami. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Much aloha to you.